AM 590, KXSP Omaha's ESPN Radio. It's time for the Metro's only racing talk show. The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Buddy Ray.
Welcome to it, race fans. This is The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. That is karting with a K. Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. What do you guys got going new over there at old Joe's Karting, the old Metro's only indoor karting facility?
Yeah, I'm telling you, the Metro's only.
Actually, let me ask you that, because we've talked about that. Is it, because there is other karting facilities.
Yeah, there's other karting facilities if you want to drive 3 hours to get to them.
There's, and I hate to give out other sponsors, but there's like this one, the pizza machine. You can, listen, you can count that as a karting facility because it's for 7-year-old kids. They've got. Listen, it's
you want adult oriented, you go to Joe's.
Bingo. What do you guys got going on over there?
I tell you what, go out on Facebook, look up Joe's Karting on Facebook. Here's why you want to do that is we give away a lot of races. Mm-hmm. The way we give away some of the races, and you have to follow what we do from day to day. We do different stuff. Like Mondays, it's called My Time Mondays. On My Time Mondays, almost sounds like I'm saying My Time Mondays. Yeah. But on My Time Mondays, whoever has the fastest lap at the end of the night at closing, that one person will get a free race to Joe's. On Tuesdays, it gets a little bit more competitive. On Tuesdays, the first race that goes out, whoever has the fastest lap on that race will get a free race. In the second race, if you set the fastest lap, we will compare that to the first race. And if you beat the fastest lap from the first race, you will get a free race. So you could sit there and potentially race for free all night. Tuesday night, you just got to beat your lap times. But you got to remember, there's 10 other people in the race with you. Yeah. So it's a crapshoot. Now, Fridays, good Lord, this is one of our most popular features. The trivia, and you never know what I'm going to do. Sometimes it's one photo, sometimes it's one question, sometimes it's a team building deal where I'll make a racing story and you have to fill in the blanks, and whoever gets the blanks. But when we do photo trivia, I try to make the photos hard. The harder they get, the more races you win. The trivia questions, like one of them was from April 8th of 09, August 8th of 09, through January 14th of 2014, how many laps have been turned inside Joe's?
What was the final answer, by the way? Because I guessed about 1 million.
3.2 million laps.
Wow, holy cow.
Now, when you take that, divide it, and you take that times 650 foot, we have been literally, we did the math on this. We have turned, up until that time, 328,000 miles inside Joe's. Wow. We have been to the moon and back.
You can find all this information on the Facebook page. Just search Joe's Karting, like the page today. It's a lot of good information on there and some interactive fun. So, want to talk about interactive fun? Holy cow, was Bristol Motor Speedway some interactive fun. You got to enjoy some long pre-race during the rain delay, 123 laps, and then about 3.5 hours of
halftime.
Wow, what a race. That was amazing.
You know what? You never noticed. The one thing I noticed, and I didn't get to see all the race because I was busy on Sunday, and we had some stuff going on at work, so I got to miss the last 44 laps. But the racing action that you saw for the first 120 laps and the racing that you saw at the end of the race, there wasn't really much difference. Yeah, they were getting on the wheel like nobody's business, and they're 3-4 wide. It was amazing.
That is no exaggeration whatsoever. There was a giant hornet's nest. Several times I saw this giant hornet's nest of about 8 or 9, 10, 11 cars, all within milliseconds of each other, diving down in the corners, going 3 wide, and then when they would come out, somebody get a run, and they'd try to go 4 wide along one of the stretches.
You know, to describe Bristol this weekend, I would have to say if you took Daytona and Talladega and they had a baby together, it would be called Bristol. It looked like pack racing that.
That was absolutely beautiful. And that was the racing that a lot of fans have been waiting for when they talk about the old Bristol.
Oh, yeah.
It was beautiful racing.
Just the old NASCAR alone. I mean, I pity the fool that did not have faith. Pity fool.
Who didn't stick around?
Yeah, dude, didn't stick around. Because, I mean, that was probably one of the, and I said this last year about a few of the races, but this Bristol race was one of the most exciting races I've seen in a long time.
They just keep bettering each other, don't they?
Oh, yeah. It's funny how they do that.
Top 10 at Bristol. How about this? The rookie, Kyle Larson, not only getting himself a top 10 finish, but definitely holding his own. He is very good at Bristol. He almost won the nationwide race last year at Bristol. I believe it was the later race they went to, with a last couple of laps battle with Kyle Busch, lost by just a scotch.
The one thing I think I'm giving Larson, though, is he's a veteran short track racer. He may not have the experience at the Daytonas, the Talladegas. He comes from a background in short track racing.
Hold on. You love to give this guy too much credit. I'm never going to call a 19-year-old a veteran at anything.
Are you serious?
I'm absolutely serious. I am dead serious. There is no 19-year-old is a veteran at anything. He is good at short tracks. He has experience in short tracks. He's not a veteran. Come on.
Okay, you know what? First debate of the season here.
Come on.
I want the listeners on Facebook. Would you consider Larson a short track veteran? Simply put, short track veteran. Asphalt, dirt, it don't matter. Short track.
Guy's been racing for like 6 years.
Try longer.
I think he started when he was 12 or 13.
He's been racing a long time.
Well, either way, I'm not going to call a 19-year-old. He's good. And
but
he held his own.
But I told you last year he was not going to be no slouch, and I still hold to my guns that I sincerely think that he's going to be in the chase this year. You don't think he is. Nope. I think he is.
Nope. I don't think he has the equipment to be able to make it.
Oh yeah, he'll be in the chase.
I think he got lucky with this one. But his car faded at the end. Listen, we're going to continue to battle this, but he held his own. I gave him credit for today, but it's a long season. But to your credit, he's only got to get lucky.
I want to hear
what
the listeners have to say about Kyle Larson, though. Do you agree with Dan or do you agree with me?
Brian Vickers got himself a 9th place finish. Casey Kane came home 8th. Jeff Gordon 7th. Denny Hamlin, the pole sitter, came home 6th. And Marcus Ambrose, the Aussie, top 5 finish.
Oh, kudos to him.
Tony Stewart started 37th. Made his way all the way up to 4th.
Now that is a Superman feat at Bristol right there.
Not just because that's a lot of positions to pick up at a track that it's hard to pass at, but just because of what he's had to overcome. It's not easy to sit in that car for 500 laps or 503 laps with the injuries that he's got, which he is still healing from. He's not 100%. He's not good and clean and ready to be racing again, but he's out there because he's a competitor, and the guy doesn't know what it means to not race. He absolutely fantastic. Started 37th, picked up all the way up to 4th. Eric Almirola. I'll say it again. Eric Almirola.
He still races?
The 43. The last time the 43 saw victory lane, I believe it was 1999 at Bristol. That was the last time the number 43 car visited victory lane.
But we were talking before we went to air. The information that they're sharing with Penske can only help that organization and vice versa.
I believe I picked up on the broadcast that they do have a technical trade with Penske, and look who's pretty much dominated the pole positions the last couple of weeks.
I want to ask you a question. Let's play the.
We'll get to that. Let me finish this out though. Ricky Steinhouse Jr. That's who you're about ready to go to. Ricky Steinhouse Jr. got himself a 2nd place finish, and then Carl Edwards gets the win. I'll kind of lead up to this a little bit. Just to remind everybody, the way the race ended on Sunday was that there was a mistake in firing the caution lights from the flag stand. Somebody accidentally tripped them, and NASCAR was, all intents purposes, going to have a green-white checkered finish. This would have lined them up as Carl Edwards inside. Carl probably would have taken the outside because that was the faster lane. Ricky on the inside, Eric Almirola, and then Tony Stewart. That's your first 2 lanes. Ricky says this in the post-race comments, and I'm shocked.
I would use the bumper if the opportunity was there. If you get the win, you're in the chase, and you can let the rest take care of itself later. So I would have ran it in there pretty hard, and he knows I would have. We've had a few races in Nationwide where they came down to the wire like that, and we both drive really hard. So I was thinking about doing whatever I could.
Doing whatever I could.
Do you really see this mentality though? I think all these guys want to win at all costs, but with that being said, do you think this year's new format with the chase, this is a byproduct of that?
Absolutely, 100%, no doubt in my mind. I don't think the hard racing is a product of it, but I think the bump and run, using the horn, and getting a little bit more aggressive is 100% having to do with the win and you're in.
Eric Almirola, Marcus Ambrose finishing top 10 at Bristol. Is that because of the new chase format?
No. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think that has to do with having a good car, because those two, despite being in an organization that has struggled over the last couple of years, those were good cars. Those were good, solid cars. But I think Ricky's comments had everything to do with the new race format. And here is comments from his boss, Jack Roush. Obviously, Ricky and Carl are teammates. And here's Jack pretty much backing up what his driver, the number 17, said.
When it comes time to really charge for the checkered flag, the guys, there's no team orders, there's no rules. I expect them to race one another as they expect to be raced, not only with one another but with everybody in the garage. I expect Ricky is as fierce a competitor as there is out there, and if his car's got the speed in it and he can get to the car in front of him, particularly the short track, you'd bump and run and take the prize if you could. I would be disappointed if he didn't have that in his mind.
I'm kind of glad that NASCAR the rain ended up coming with 2 to go, and they ended up doing a yellow checkered finish, and the race was over with. But do you think maybe NASCAR fans were kind of deprived of maybe some fireworks in that race?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
with the comments
NASCAR's got to call the race if the rain comes, but you're really setting something up to be spectacular there. I mean, the race was already spectacular, but that could have been magical to watch that ending. How
mad would Carl Edwards have been had NASCAR allowed a green-white checkered and he'd have been wrecked to get the win?
From his teammate, because all intents and purposes, he had a
2 second lead until that caution came out. He had the race won. I think the right thing laid out and played out in the end, but man alive, I'd have loved to have seen that finish. It would have gotten brutal.
Oh, yeah.
It would have gotten absolutely brutal. So again, Marcus Ambrose, Tony Stewart, Eric Almirola, Ricky Stenhouse, and Carl Edwards all get yourself a top 10.
Let's mention a couple things. Early on in the race, Junior was looking good once again until he faded back, in the race and finished 5 laps down. Harvick.
Yeah,
wow.
They are. I think that is another product of they've won, so they're in, so they're trying new things. I honestly think the number 4 car is a test car for the next, how many races do we have left? 21 races in the regular season?
Do you think if Harvick continues the streak that he's on now, is Harvick a legitimate shot for the championship?
I think anybody is a legitimate shot when they get in there. We saw it last year with Jimmy Johnson when he got essentially locked in. You remember he had that 70, 80-point lead over second place, and then all of a sudden he started having 15th, 22nd, 23rd place finishes. It was because they were testing different things. They were finding out what not to do, which is sometimes more valuable than what to do. When you find out what not to do, it gives you a giant zone to stay away from.
Yeah, but what I like about this new chase format is, okay, so you win and you're in, right? Mm-hmm. But very theoretically,
you're winning, essentially you're in.
And essentially you're in. Everybody's assuming that if they win, they're in.
Yeah.
With that being said, I don't know if you'd really want to be testing right now because...
What's it going to hurt you?
Well, here, hold on.
Okay.
You can win and essentially be in, but if you start going out there and testing and you're finishing that 15th, 20th, Jimmy Johnson, we've all known from coast to coast, north to south, east to west, that he's kind of in his own league, him and old Chad Knaus. Mm-hmm. Well, when you're Kevin Harvick, in my opinion, if I win, I still want to win races because I just took another race away from what could be a potential winner.
Right.
So at that point, do I really want to test or do I want to run hard and try to win?
Well, what's more important to you, winning a second race or finding out how to be the fastest for the last 10? Answer it. What do you think? What's more important to you?
I want to win the race.
You want to win a second race rather than finding out how to be the best.
Yeah, because I just took a win from another potential driver that could be in the championship.
Listen, there's not going to be 17 winners in the regular season. There hasn't been in a long time. So I think that argument has some legs, a little bit of legs, but if I'm thinking big picture, I'm trying to figure out how to be the best for the last 10 races.
So you'd rather race against 10 guys or 16 guys with a win for the championship versus maybe 8 guys that have won and the other ones just kind of squeaked in by points?
16 are going to get in anyways. You're going to have to race against them anyways.
I know, but do you want to be... There's winners, there's guys that have snuck in on points, and there's guys that have earned it by winning. And well, if you win a race, you take away a race that somebody could have won. So yeah, Junior's got to win. Great. Go out and win 3 or 4 more and take those 3 or 4 races away before the chase gets here by having 4 wins, 3 or 4 wins. Don't be lollygagging around, sitting around. I want you to go out there and win.
I'm going to take the stride of the guy who won the championship last year, and he tested the last 10 races of the regular season. He tested at the 10 tracks that they were going back to during the chase. And what did he do during the chase? Dominated.
I see your point, but there's a more of a premium on winning this year than what there was last year.
There's a premium on winning one race this year. And Kevin Harvick, I want to go back and say this again. I don't think Kevin was necessarily broke because he was testing, and he had an awesome car. So they found something. So when they go back to Bristol, they're going to make sure they've got that oil line tightened up just right and the right kind of oil line on there so it doesn't happen again. And he's going to have the dominant car again.
I think that's just a part failure. You're reading too much into that.
But he's...
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
To answer your question, I would much rather do some testing and do a little bit of experimenting right now when I know I'm locked in and I know there's going to be 16 other drivers that I got to battle with, whether they've won a race or not. I would rather find a way to be the best at the last 10 races.
If you want to do the testing, that's fine. But you better, if I'm your team owner and Dan, you come to me and say, look, boss, I want to do some testing. I'm going to be like, all right, Dan, here's the deal. You want to do some testing? Have at it, boy. But you better give me 2 or 3 wins before you go out there testing.
Come on. They're not telling him he's got to give him 2 or 3 wins.
I'm just telling you what I would be saying to you if you were my driver.
So Tony Stewart's saying to Kevin Harvick that he's testing, saying, Kevin, I don't appreciate you testing that because
I want you to get 2 or 3 wins, and then maybe you can
come on, he's running over to Kevin going, what did you do? What did you do? What did you do? Or maybe that's what he did do.
At this point, Tony Stewart's liable to be running over to Danica. What'd you do? What'd you do? What'd you do?
Well, no, Tony finished 4th.
But I think he went over to Harvick and said, what'd you do? And finished 4th.
Maybe that information is what helped him finish 4th.
Well, I understand that.
All right, we've argued for about 10 minutes on this. Let's keep moving. We got to get into the next stuff. Top 10 in points. Ricky Steinhouse Jr. moves into the top 10. Ryan Newman, 9th. Matt Kenseth, 8th. Denny Hamlin, 7th. Joey Logano, 6th. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Carl Edwards, top 3. And then Dale Jr. falls out of the lead to be taken over by Brad Keselowski.
Matt Kenseth, what a car he had.
Again and again and again, he has a fantastic car. We're going to get over into Turn 2 and talk to Jack Dover. We'll be right back with the Gas Man on the front stretch.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube has been voted festival favorite once again at the National Buffalo Wing Festival. Visit Quaker Steak and Lube for our Best Wings USA, sauced your way.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
This is Andrew from Kaziski Auto Parts. Kaziski Auto Parts is an insurance-quality used parts supplier that can match your foreign or domestic car or truck needs. If you have a damaged or broke-down car or truck, we guarantee a clean and quality part in next-day fashion. Kaziski Auto Parts, your neighborhood premium recycled parts supplier. Call any Kaziski Auto Parts salesman today by dialing 402-731-4592 or visit us at 5040 I Street in Omaha. Kaziski Auto Parts, our quality used parts will match your car or truck's needs.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.
We're working the high line into Turn 2 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
Welcome back, front stretch fans. We're heading into turn number 2, brought to you by Kaziski Auto Parts at 51st and I Street. Head over to their giant salvage yard and get your car or truck repaired at an affordable price. Talk to Andrew, Gary, any one of the guys at the front desk at Kaziski Auto Parts, and they'll make sure and get you the right part. Once again, this happened to me once again. I went to go change the brakes on my Ranger, gave him my VIN number, the year, make, model, everything. Got home and I had the wrong brake pads. Now, because this Auto Parts doesn't have brake, but I suppose they could have brake pads. You'll pull them off of an old car and they won't work very well.
2 things about old Andrew Kaziski down there.
Let's just lay off Andrew.
Well, no,
last week.
I went down there and he goes, Bud, I don't know what you and Dana are telling everybody on the show, but it's working really good. He goes, I've never had to work so hard in my life. I broke a sweat the other day. I was like, oh, nap time's over, hon. He goes, yeah. But you know what? As much as I like you, Andrew, I just got to throw this out there. You know why NASCAR ever did away with the Polish lap at the end of the race?
Why?
because they thought he would interview with Andrew Koziski finishing a race.
And that would be the sound of crickets. What are you... Okay.
He knows what I'm talking about.
I haven't been on the show for a while. Where did Andrew go?
He needed to focus on his racing. He was getting overwhelmed with school and racing. And at one point in time, he went, these guys are idiots. I don't want to be associated with these guys. Which I should say that after our interview's over with. You heard his voice. It's the gas man. Jack Dover is joining us, driver of the number 53 Home Pride Motorsports Sprint Car. Big guy, how you doing?
Good.
It's good to have you back in.
Thanks for having me.
For our semi-annual interview with the gas man.
Oh, yeah. Feels good to be back in here.
Did you go over to Australia this year?
I did not go this year.
You did not go?
Nope.
Forgot to give him the memo.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Well, did you not notice his beautiful
I got that
girlfriend
memo
over here?
Yeah, I saw that memo.
Unlike you, most of us guys can get girls.
You might be looking at her and think she went to Australia, but she just goes to tanning beds.
I got enough money to do it. Nothing to do with my money. I don't need to spend it on women.
That's an open-handed comment.
Crickets again. All right, let's talk about Jack Dover. Buddy, how's your off-season been?
Busy. I haven't really worked on the race car or anything. I've been helping my parents. They got the State Farm account here in Nebraska for towing the wrecked cars away, so been in the tow truck quite a bit this winter.
You've been busy then, huh?
Oh, yeah. Making money, though, so that's always good. Never know what that feeling's like.
What is your first race? Do you have that figured out yet?
April 4th and 5th out of I-80.
Okay, so just a couple of weeks away. You got to get to work on that car.
Yeah. Girlfriend, Lauren, she's been helping clean the trailer, and buddy of mine, Ryan, he's been helping too, so it's coming along slowly, but we'll get her done.
Any crew changes in the off-season?
No. I don't have anybody right now, so...
So volunteers are more than welcome to come on out and help you?
They got to be experienced.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I was going to say, hey, I'll help you out, but... There was one time I forgot to put lug nuts on a tire.
Ooh.
We won't get into that. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to make it onto a pit crew anytime soon.
Isn't that when State Farm hauled your car? See how I did that?
That was when I saw you last Jack.
I actually had somebody do that last year on my race car. I forgot to tighten the left front.
Let me ask you about that. Get into your head. How is that infuriating?
Not really.
No.
It's just irritating.
Yeah. You don't get too mad, but it's just kind of like one of those things where it's like, come on.
Like I was mad, but I also thank God it wasn't the right front, because if it was the right front, it would have been bad.
Yeah.
Because it fell off going in the corner.
See, I always get mad if something that's totally preventable happens. You can't always tell when the motor's going to blow. You can't always tell when the right rear is going to hit a rut and you're going to flip the car. You can't foresee that. But if somebody doesn't tighten down a tire and the tire comes off, that's preventable. To me, that just angers me like no other.
I think one of the maddest I ever saw you at Crawford County was when somebody left the gas cap off.
Ooh.
That is the worst thing that you can do.
You were just cussing and spitting, and not only am I out of the race, but I'm out $500.
I made Tony Stewart look like a rookie.
I don't know yet. But, so Jack Dover, driver of the number 53, what's your year look like? What big hits you're going to do? What's your plans, the broad scheme of things?
Pretty much the same as last year. We'll just run around here in the Midwest, go up to Minnesota, South Dakota, go up to Wisconsin again and run that big show up there. Oklahoma, Texas, just right in the central region. You
going to be kind of a nomad, or are you going to pick a series this year and kind of try to stay with something?
Just go to the races and try to win them all.
You could have won the 360 series. You could have easily won that thing had you picked about 5 or 6 more races to go to.
Yeah, that's the thing that killed me is when I went up to Wisconsin. They had a show and I missed it, so that got us out of the points. But like I said, we're not points racing. We're just going to have fun and try to win a lot of races.
Any World of Outlaws on the horizon? I know that's kind of been something you've been working really hard on getting something done there.
No calls yet. I asked a person 2 weeks ago about driving one of their cars, but I didn't get no response on that. Our 410 is getting built right now, so it should be fresh and ready, and hopefully do probably 5 or 10 shows this year with it.
Yeah, I was going to say, when we talked to your sponsor, he was talking to Luke Cochran, owner of Home Pride Companies. He'd mentioned that you guys are going to try to run a few World of Outlaw races.
Yeah, not nothing crazy, probably 5 or 10, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy, 5 or 10. You make it sound like it's like chump change.
Well,
just 5 or 10 World of Outlaws, nothing major.
But don't those World of Outlaw guys race about 90 races a year?
Yeah.
That's a part of the series, not just about what they go and do outside of just the series.
Yeah.
They race quite a bit.
That's ridiculous.
What's the biggest thing that you've there's always something that you want to change, something that's always up there at the top. We're going to change this. We're going to look at this. What would that be for you this year?
Probably crew members. I've never really had I've had a good crew, but it's only one guy. I want 2 solid guys that's there every weekend and every week in the shop. All right,
now are they on a payroll? Listen up, everybody. You want to be a crew? I'm getting you a job here with the gas man.
He's got to be experienced. No, they would be on payroll if they're really experienced and good. And they'd be with me all week and on the weekends racing.
So me and Dan wouldn't qualify.
I think I was out of the running after he found out about the lug nuts.
Yeah. I don't think I want him.
Well, you always have a good spokesperson for the State Farm account.
There you go.
I'm a good spokesman. I know how to get things sold. I just don't know necessarily how to put lug nuts on right, which doesn't bode well for my Ranger when I changed the brakes last weekend.
That's all right.
And got the wrong brake pads.
Learn from your mistakes.
That's right. I learned from it. A boss always told me it's never a mistake if it happens once.
That's right.
It's a mistake if it happens twice.
So let's, one thing I've been wondering about you. Here, I think it was 2 years ago, Jack, we had you on the front stretch, and we were talking about how you were trying to get to NASCAR. Is there still time left for you to try to get into like the Nationwide Series or even the Truck Series at some point?
If there was, it'd be this year. I think once I get 25, they ain't even going to look at me because I'm too old. They want 18 to 22 or 24 years old.
That's got to be frustrating because it's not like your talent level went anywhere.
Right.
I mean, at 20, it doesn't just magically disappear at 25. Steve Kinzer is proving that. Now, granted, that's the cream of the crop right there, but there's guys still getting it done at his age. And 25, 26, 27, you could still make a splash up in ARCA, Truck Series, or Nationwide. How frustrating is that?
Oh, it's really frustrating, but nowadays, you both know it's just who you know and how much money you can bring to the table.
Yeah.
Well, Dan's broke, and I don't know anybody, so...
My girlfriend's got a lot of money.
Okay.
So Lauren can put you on, All right, Lauren. As Lauren, I mean, if you want to, feel free to talk. If you want to put him at Talladega, can we see Jack Dover at Talladega? Oh, there you go.
Says, of course.
Front stretch exclusive right there.
She finds NASCAR boring, though.
After this weekend, did you watch the race at Bristol? No, she didn't watch it. Well, that's you.
I do want to. I want to ask her something. I don't know if you know, Jack, but I finally got married.
Yeah.
This year. It's funny that you find racing boring, and I'm not making fun of that, or NASCAR. You find NASCAR boring because my wife, a lot of the times, does not understand the mentality of it. Is that kind of where you're at with it?
No, I don't think it's boring. I just like dirt.
What?
So it's just an asphalt. It's not necessarily dirt. So you're experienced, but you like dirt. You have fun with it. Yeah.
Okay. Now, see, my wife's a lot of the same way. She's like, I don't get to see Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart and all of them on a weekly basis. She goes, I go to the dirt track and I get to know everybody in all the classes, and you form friendships that way. So, I mean, Rachel's like, how can you just sit there in front of a TV and just watch your head go around in circles? I'm like, I will let my head do circles when I ain't paying $75 for a ticket to get into a NASCAR race, and I can drink my $2 6-pack of beer and I pay $9 for a bottle of Bud Light at the track.
I told her she wouldn't find it boring if I was racing, though.
Right, exactly.
No, gas man. Oh man, he lights it up.
Well, that's the key thing and I love going to dirt track races because I pick one driver. A lot of times, 9 times out of 10, it's you that I root for. It's the Midwest Fall Brawl when you won that first night. Was it that Friday night?
Yeah,
was it a Friday night? It was pure excitement for me because I picked my guy. I knew right where you were starting. I kept my eyes on you the whole time and just watched you work your way through the field. That makes it a lot better than you just kind of sitting there watching cars make laps and you don't have one driver that you got to pick.
Right.
So when you've got a horse in the field or you've got some stake in it, then it makes it a lot better.
Let's talk about that Midwest Fall Brawl. Are you planning on doing that this year in 2014?
Yeah. I'm going to try to win the $50,000 this year.
You're going to go ahead and try it.
I was getting ready to ask you. You're just going to try to get the $50,000. Do you see the car count going up because of that $50,000 bonus?
Oh yeah, it's going to be way up there because one, they made an ASCS national show, so you get all the national guys there.
It's an ASCS national points paying show.
Yep. So you're going to get all of them, and I don't think that weekend there's an outlaw race, so you're going to get those guys also.
Some of the World of Outlaw guys are going to show up.
Yeah. And that is, frankly, at $50,000 is a lot to pay. We're not talking just locally here. That is
everywhere.
Huge amount.
That's the whole country.
Can you think of bigger races that pay that?
No.
The only one I can think of is Knoxville Nationals.
That pays more than $50,000.
Yeah.
How many? If you had to take a wild guess at car count, If you had to put a number, just guesstimate.
Probably 50 to 60.
50 or 60 for that weekend.
Wow. And I just want to point out, Timmy Hill, who finished 43rd at Bristol last weekend, took home $65,000.
Where did Earnhardt finish? I never did hear.
5 laps down.
24th. He had a rough day. His car just fell off as the track changed.
Because at one point I was looking, he was in 5th place. So
yeah, the track changed so much between the rain and the weather, and it going to night. They weren't able to keep up with the transition of the track. So
can you tell us? Last year I was at the World of Wheels. Gorgeous car. I'll never ever forget that motor you had at the World of Wheels.
Oh, his.
Best appearing engine.
Yes. The freaking valve covers were carbon fiber. I've never seen that.
Really?
And the injection.
Are you still staying with the Ford engines this year?
Yeah, we're still sticking with the Fords. Roush Yates has got out of the whole DART program. They don't do modified models.
That's what I was getting ready to go into is, who did you hook up with?
The guy that was doing all the motors there at Roush Yates, they let him go. So he started his own shop, and he's still doing my stuff.
So it was the guy who was designing the engines for the dirt track drivers.
Yep.
He left and created his own company.
Chris
so
Moss,
it's the same company.
Exactly, yeah.
It's the guy who was the brains behind it. Now he's just got his own names.
Yep.
And he's not running under the Roush Yates. Sorry, I just seizured there for a second. It's what's his name?
Chris Moss, Racing Engines.
Was that a big relief to you? Because you've had a lot of success with those engines.
Yeah, the Chevys, they changed some rules this year, so if I did have to switch to them, I think we still could get the job done and win with them. But these Fords have been great to me, so I'm happy he went off on his own and started his own deal, so I can stick with them.
Jack Dover, driver in the number 53 sprint car, locally and regionally for Home Pride Motorsports Company. Jack, your first race again, you're coming out to I-80 Speedway for the Spring Meltdown on the 4th and 5th. Is that an ASCS or a Nebraska
ASCS.
Is it a paired show between the 360s?
I think it is.
Okay.
I think it is, yep.
Be a good, I'm praying, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We were talking about as you were coming in today.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about the weather. I am just in complete amazement that at one point in time it's 65, sunny, and beautiful, and that night it's snowing. Yep. There's snow on the ground, and then the next day it's 60 again. It
pays $2,500 to win each night, so that'd be good.
That'd be a good win.
Yeah, it'd be a good win to win both of those on the start of the season.
With you being a veteran, I want to switch gears here a little bit. With you being a veteran sprint car driver,
you think I'm old or what?
No.
Well, you're over 19, so obviously you're a veteran.
It's fun. I'm gonna go there. So
you had to listen to the show earlier.
Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
Is he a veteran driver? A short track veteran?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm not going to count any 19-year-old as a veteran.
He beats all the veterans, so I call him a veteran.
There you go. To be the man, you got to beat the man.
Yep.
The problem is, not too many people will beat Jack Dover. He's still the man.
Not a lot of people beat Kyle Larson.
Yeah. But the question I was going to go into, being a veteran driver and watching the sport grow and go through its ups and downs, give me your take on this new IMCA Race Saver class. We're seeing this thing explode. Do you see it doing the same thing that the IMCA Sport Mods did, where it's going to take off like wildfire?
Yeah, I think it will, and it has. Actually, the last year I was surprised how many more cars they're getting this year. I heard they're getting probably 10 or 12 more cars. So that shows right there it's growing. But I don't know. I think the price is going to go up on the engines, and all the prices are going to go up like it did with 360s, because 360s was supposed to be a cheaper class to step down from the 410s, and now it's almost as much as a 410 class.
Price just seems to be the overall thing that no matter what you do, it always goes up. It never comes back down.
Yeah, but when we're seeing the cost of the race savers with where they're at, 2013 going into 2014, and you're predicting that the prices on these engines and the cars are going to go up, whose fault is that? Is that because the manufacturers and the suppliers know the racers are willing to pay that, or is that the suppliers and the manufacturers trying to get that much more money because they see a class growing?
I don't think it's anything with the suppliers. I think it's the richer people or wealthier people out there that had the money. They can build a $15,000 motor and nobody else can keep up with them. So those people are going to have to spend the money to keep up with them.
And then the wealthier people, when everyone else comes up to 15, they're spending 20.
Yeah.
And then they're spending 25.
If that happens, could one theoretically say in 5 years, we're going to be right back to the same thing, or in the same boat that we were with the 360s?
Exactly, yep.
Yeah.
5 years ago, you guys started a great deal, but now, we might have 60 cars this year, but in 5 years, we're back down to 12 because everybody's got a $90,000 car.
Yeah, I heard a couple guys that got $18,000 to $20,000 IMCA motors, which is just crazy, I think.
Wow.
I mean, that's just going to kill the sport because nobody's going to be able to keep up with those things.
No, the sport can't survive, and being a veteran sprint car driver, I wanted to ask your opinion on that.
We've been talking with Jack Dover, driver of the number 53 Home Pride Motorsports sprint car for the Nebraska 360s, the ASCS Midwest, nationally, a couple of World of Outlaw races also. How can people keep up with you?
Go to my website, jackdoverracing.com, and then you can follow us on Facebook, Jack Dover Racing there, and Twitter. That's Jack Dover Racing also.
We had Shaylee Bate in here last week, and she's talking about merchandising.
Did she send a seat?
She did.
Oh, man.
She did.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Congratulations. She was talking about some merchandising, and I kind of wanted to ask you, do you guys have any die-cast cars?
We don't have any die-cast cars, but we are working on some shirts and some hats this year. So
how come people, I love die-cast cars, but is it because it's such an overhead cost to get them because they're so expensive to make?
I mean, they're expensive to make, and you don't really make much money on them. And
yeah.
I mean, how often do you go to a racetrack and people are asking for a die-cast car?
That's true.
I probably only get 2 or 3 people a year.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
So do the Front Stretch boys get a Jack Dover Racing shirt later on?
I could probably hook you up with one.
I'm going to do the right thing. I'll buy you one. You don't need to hook me up.
You're going to buy me one?
I'm going to buy one from you.
Oh, all right.
Because I like to support the local drivers. I got no problem throwing you $20, right?
$20,
okay.
Yeah.
You're going to cut me?
Yeah.
Not 25? $20?
20.
He's like, I've been selling for 10 on my website. This idiot's going to pay 20.
Yeah.
No, shirts.
Well, you're the
shirts
guy that's got lug nuts that falls off. I mean,
I'm loose a couple of lug nuts. Everyone knows that.
I was going to tell people, another way you can follow Jack, come over to Joe's Karting on Tuesday nights, 5 to close, and he's doing a half-hour endurance race.
Yeah. Come race with me.
What is your best time at Joe's? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't even pay attention.
Sub 14?
I don't know.
Honestly,
I just go over there with my friends and we just do slide jobs and just have a good race.
You guys never, in the entire 5 years that I've been there, honestly, I've never seen Jack Dover really get on the wheel to try to set fast lap time. You are all about you don't care if it's against me, Stu Snyder, or whoever. You just want to have fun and do slide jobs. What's amazing though, watch Jack Dover put the back end of that cart up on the outside wall, and he's still running low 15s. We're all like, how in the world do you do that?
All right, Dover, we appreciate your time this morning. Good luck this season, and jackdoverracing.com for the website. Jack Dover Racing is a Facebook page. Good luck to you. Can't wait to see you in Victory Lane.
Thanks for having me in here again.
We'll be right back. In turn 3, we're going to talk with Dusty Reynolds of RaceNote. It's an app that, by the way, you're going to be able to get on your phone. We'll talk to him about when it's going to come out for the sprint cars, but right now it's just out for the late models. Get rid of the old the old notebooks, the old pen and paper, and you can put it all on your tablet or PC. So we'll talk to Dusty Reynolds about how that app all came about. It's the Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
For 50 years, Eagle Raceway has been pushing the limits of dirt track racing. Saturday nights, come see the Midwest's best battle at the fastest third-mile track. Gates open at 5:30 for IMCA Modifieds, Sport Compacts, Hobby Stocks, Sport Mods, and Race Saver Sprint Cars. Eagle kicks their season off on April 19th with the Icebreaker Challenge, featuring the debut of the Race Saver Sprint Cars. Located just 10 minutes east of Lincoln on Highway 34 and online at eagleraceway.com.
At Quaker Steak and Lube, we're famous for 18 flavors of incredible wings, voted best wings in the USA. But ooh, baby, there's so much more. Ribs, steaks, burgers, specialty drinks, and drafts, all served up on a platter full of fun. Every night is hot at the Lube, and every Tuesday is all-you-can-eat wing night.
Great times, great food. Get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.
Time to grab another tear-off and make your move. We're headed into Turn 3 on the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting.
Welcome back to the Front Stretch, heading into turn number 3, brought to you by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. We're joined in studio by the CEO and creator, all-around guru. I mean, you're kind of the brains behind the whole thing.
I can never claim that. I got a lot of smart people around me.
RaceNote is the name of the app. Let's kind of first off, can you give a description of what is RaceNote?
You bet, yeah. So RaceNote, what we're trying to do is just make life easier for the drivers and crew chiefs. So what we've done is we've built technology that allows teams to be able to take their setup notes either on their tablet or the computer, and very soon we'll have it available on the iPhone and Android as well.
And this is basically just digitizing what they do on a notebook.
You bet.
Keeps everything in line, but from what I've been able to understand, you can chart things too. You can track progress. You can find out what worked and what didn't work, rather than just writing down this kind of information and then tracking your lap times and kind of putting two and two together. The app does it for you.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. We should probably hire you to be our salesman. But the only other thing you didn't mention there is it keeps track of the usage of parts. Mm-hmm. So quite often, a lot of times you'll be going 3, 4, sometimes 5 nights and realize you have way too many laps on your motor, transmission, whatever it may be, before some of that stuff needs to be freshened up. This keeps track of that, so that way you don't necessarily have to keep all that in your head. You've got something to notify you.
Dusty Reynolds is your name. I never even got to it. I apologize, Dusty.
That's all right.
Sorry about that. CEO and creator of RaceNote from Hooper, Nebraska. How did you get into dirt racing in Hooper, Nebraska?
I was one of 800 people that had Hooper as my hometown. And with that, there's obviously not too many stock car racers. I've always been intrigued by racing, so there was a gentleman there that raced late models, Terry Golder. Him and his dad raced late models, and started hanging around that guy, swept a few shop floors before I know it, ended up working on his car about 3 or 4 nights out of the week, and then going racing Friday through Sunday.
So you're not just a Johnny-come-lately?
No, I've been around it quite a while, so it's actually, I'm one of the few guys that it says they've seen multi-generations of racers, and I've been alongside of them for. So.
Well, that's cool. That's really cool. What would you count as your home track then?
That's a really good question. I would say the track I've probably been to the most would either be Eagle or Park Jefferson Speedway up in South Dakota. That's no longer, but I would say that'd probably be my home track.
Okay. Dusty Reynolds, CEO of RaceNote. You can find him on Facebook. RaceNote, just really simple. Race space note.
I'm actually on it right now.
Yep.
Taking a look at it.
You guys got a good website too. It's really simple. RaceNote.com.
Thanks. We really lucked out having a simple URL there and a simple name, so people can find us pretty easily.
At what point in time were you sitting there thinking, I got to create an app?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I distinctly remember when I was working on Terry's car, at the end of the year, you've got this 3-ring binder full of notes, and it seems really special to you. And then at the end of the year, you say, what am I going to do with this stinking thing? There's no way to really be able to search it. A lot of times, I didn't even know how to spell the word. So I'd misspell tracks, I'd misspell parts on the car, and there's really no way of being able to search or see any analytics. It was about 3 or 4 years ago when I was we're actually sitting out at the Silver Dollar Nationals, and you see people just taking notes like crazy. You talk with Tim McCready, the guy takes 10 pages of notes per night.
Wow.
And he races 75 times per year. He's got 750 pages of notes. We're sitting here on our cell phone, though, and talking and FaceTiming with friends. Why are we not taking notes on our phone when we can speed up the process and do it in the snap of a finger?
That's it.
I tell you what, in today's racing, being a car owner myself, 10, 15 years ago, a lot of us called those notebooks Bibles. I mean, that was all of our info right there. You ever want to know what to do on your car, you go to the Bible. The Bible will tell you. But in today's world, almost everybody's got a smartphone. They have an app or something to work on cars. But what I like about yours that stands out from others, in today's racing, if you want to make it as a racer, whether it be a sport compact, a late model, a hobby stock, whatever, you have to treat it not as a hobby, but as a business. Well, guess what? If you own a business, you're going to have software that's going to keep track of your inventory, your tendencies when you sell and when you buy and all that and whatnot. Well, what better thing to have on your race team? Everybody's like, well, how many laps you got on that motor? Well, I don't know. It's like, about, this many nights. But how many times have you gone to a track and you might put 20 laps on a motor one night, but then the very next night you might go somewhere and it might be 50 laps.
Right.
And so everybody's like, well, you figure 20 laps a night, times 20 nights, that's 400 laps. Well, no, you could actually be way off.
Sure.
And that kind of info is critical to the success of a team to know where you're at with your parts. So I think that's a great idea that you guys have done on this app.
One of the things, I appreciate that. I said at the end of the day, we're truly trying to make life more simple for crew chiefs and teams. Another thing that we feel like we've made really easy is actually interaction with your manufacturer. So if you're racing late model, pretend you're driving a rocket chassis, Masters built, whatever. Our product actually has, with one button, you can share your notes with that chassis manufacturer. So then they can see your notes. So when you jump on the phone with them on Monday, they've got everything in front of you. So they can start adding in
they can start seeing the actual data itself and saying, this is where things went right or maybe it went wrong.
Exactly. So, typically the conversation on a Monday morning, if you call Mark Richards at Rocket Chassis, that's 20 to 30 minutes. We've seen that we can actually cut that conversation down to 5 to 10 just because they've got a PDF report of exactly what you did, the temperature, the humidity, what track it was, the track conditions, your tires, your shocks, your springs, everything like that is right in front of them.
How open have the chassis manufacturers been to working with you guys?
Yeah, they've been great. So we've been jumping on the phone with them and asking, what do you want from your drivers? What information is really critical? We went out to PRI and spent some time out there with Rocket Chassis and a few of the other manufacturers. We've been talking with Masters Built quite a bit. And they've been really open to it. At the end of the day, it makes their life much easier because if they can cut that conversation down from 30 minutes down to 5 or 10, that's return on investment that's 2 or 3-fold. So
I'm hearing a lot of Master Built, a lot of Rocket, a lot of Richards. This is late model stuff. Is this something that's designed specifically for late models, or can just about any class use this?
Yeah, so I'll give you a little bit of a secret here, but it's built right now for dirt late models. Middle of April, we're going to have a modified version. That'll be good for A mod as well as B mod. And the same type of thing, we'll be working with chassis manufacturers for that as well. So I just tipped our cards that we haven't announced that to anyone. So
dang it, that was my next
exclusive,
question.
Exclusive on the front stretch right
you
here.
Bet.
What about obviously kind of the big one? I don't want to say the big one, but the biggest field is probably the mods, right?
Oh, around here by far.
But the sprint cars are growing, so is there plans to expand into the sprint cars?
Yeah, you're really trying to tip my cards here, but yeah.
Come on.
I won't put a date on that yet, but the product roadmap goes dirt late models, dirt modifieds, sprint car, and then from that we'll have just a real stock version that can be used for whether it's sport compact, stock car, hobby stock, that type of thing.
Oh, okay.
Where they're still keeping track of fields, but it's not necessarily as specific towards your certain car.
Do you have drivers locally within the Omaha, eastern Nebraska, western Iowa area that are already on the app using it, kind of testing it for you to see if it's really useful?
Yeah, so we had, last year we had 9 different teams that used it, and that's what all of 2013 was for. So we had 3 guys in the Lucas Oil Series, we had 3 guys in the regional series, and then a few local guys that tested that for us. The jury's still out around on the weekly stuff simply because we didn't put it to market until November. And so there's people that have it on their iPad, on their computer, but they obviously aren't going to be taking too many notes here in the winter. So
No.
So yeah, we got some few local here.
RaceNote.com. You can find them on Facebook. RaceNote, no S at the end of that. RaceNote, and you can check out their Facebook page. You guys do a good job with keeping up information there. When this came across our email and you guys were talking about it, I got really excited about this because I have a similar app on my phone that I track all the information on my Ranger. So I'm able to tell exactly my fuel mileage along with the weather conditions to be able to figure out how to optimize my miles per gallon. And this is right at I love data like this kind of stuff. This is absolutely fantastic. You guys are doing a really cool job over there.
Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Now, do you have any, let's say 2-3 years down the road, even though you have the app, is there any other products that you guys are, maybe wanting to roll out or dream up, or maybe I'm not going to say nothing like a data acquisition system or
yeah, that's
data loggers, something like that.
Yeah, there's a few things we've kind of got that we're working on right now. One of the things is, if you're all familiar with Carfax reports, and everyone's familiar with Racing Junk. Well, if I were to put a race car of mine that I don't own, but I'm going to put it on Racing Junk, I can put that on there and say I won the World 100, and chances are people are going to say, well, that was John Blankenship that won last year. There's no way that Dusty has the World 100 car. However, there's really no way to be able to prove that.
Yeah.
Well, if you're taking notes on all your product, we now have the ability to produce a history report that proves exactly what you've been doing.
Wow.
So that's one of the things we can do.
Carfax on race cars. That's awesome.
So if you look at Racing Junk, they have 70 million views per year.
Wow.
And that's a huge site. So if you think of all the parts that are going through that, and you can say we can help provide a little bit of historical data to that, it's never foolproof by any means, just like a Carfax report, but it does give you a little bit of context to be able to say, yeah, that's a truthful statement. It's not a truthful statement. So at some point, our belief is that sometime when you go to Racing Junk or any type of parts classified ad, you can actually say, hey, we'd like to be able to have a RaceNote report on that as well and be able to see the history of that part or that car.
Oh, okay.
You mentioned being able to share data and input information with the chassis manufacturers. If I was a late model driver, could I share it with another late model driver? Just click and send it over to them and say, this is what worked for me at I-80 earlier in the year. You can try it out and see if it'll work for you this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you can do is you just take your note for that night, you press share, and then you can put in anyone's email address. They get a PDF report of that. So they can keep that in their file as well.
That's really cool. Dusty Reynolds of RaceNote.com. It's an app you can download onto your tablet. You can check it out on your PC, soon to be on your iPhone and Android phones also. RaceNote.com. Great little service you guys are doing. This is going to be really cool. I'm excited to see this come out.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back into Turn 4 to talk Auto Club Speedway. They're heading to Fontana. We'll talk Pick'em's contest and much, much more. Still a lot to come here on the front stretch. Presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
We have all been there before. Broken car part in your hand and some snot-nosed punk behind the counter has no idea what he is talking about, but he guarantees that this part will fix your car. You pay an arm and a leg for the replacement, get it home, and sure enough, it doesn't fit your car. Now, learn from your mistake and give an experienced salesperson at Kosiski Auto Parts a call today at 402-731-4592. Kosiski Auto Parts will get you back on the road with your arms and legs still attached.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.
Get ready for the victory lap as we make our way into Turn 4 on the front stretch. Presented by Joe's Karting. Online at joeskarting.com.
Heading into turn number 4, about ready to wrap this baby up on the front stretch. Big news, you guys. How's the Dirt Series coming along?
Good Lord Almighty. 33 drivers. Yeah. Our record's 30 drivers. We just signed up Mary Lynn's payout right now. To keep it short, top 10 does pay out now. $393 minimum, and the pot's only going to grow for first and $54 for 10th.
After the show last week, weren't you talking with Shaylee about adding another prize to the pool?
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready to announce it, or you want to just wait a little long?
No. A couple things. Woods Performance and Machine down in Syracuse, Nebraska. Any V8 powered race car, so your hobby stock, street stock, sprint car, modified late model, whoever has the lowest amount of points in that series gets 8 hours of engine dyno time for free. Wow. It's an $800 to $1,000 package. IED Speedway, good old brother Joe Kosiski. So here's what IED Speedway did. Whoever finishes in the 12th and 13th spot, as long as you're a NASCAR eligible driver and car, $100 will go towards your license in 2015. That's for 12th and 13th. Now, let's say we have 2 go-kart people that show up in 12th and 13th. Well, then those spots will then move to the next available person.
Okay. A lot of this stuff on your guys' Facebook page.
Joe's Karting Dirt Track Series. Joe's Karting Dirt Track Series.
Keep up to date with all of it. You're going to do a good job of keeping up to date with the point standings, who's where every week.
We've already got people in that's winning money already. I mean, we have people with points.
Talking about point standings, ladies and gentlemen, our very own Buddy Ray Jones has jumped up into the 20th position. Sorry. Monty Oman, 163 points, currently the leader. Mike Carlson in second. Sonia Worth in third. Kerry Hancock in fourth. And James Brennan rounds out your top 5 in the point standings. Congratulations to all those guys. Obviously, Monty gets 2 races at Joe's Karting. Mike Carlson, Sonia Worth both get a race. And then after today, whoever is in the lead after today, they're going to get themselves a prize pack to the Mid-America Motorplex.
It's actually pretty close. It could go to any one of the top 3, really.
There is, 21 points separating? And that is nothing in one race.
No.
That's absolutely nothing in one race. I mean, that's...
Well, look at Lucas Brooks. He hasn't picked a pick in 2 races, and he's still ahead of me.
Yeah. I wonder, have you talked to Lucas? Is he out? Is he going to give
No, he's going to stay there. I mean, he's kind of making fun of me, actually. He goes, it's not too hard to win this thing when I haven't picked for 2 weeks. I was like, yeah, well, dipstick, you might be 19th, but there's 18 above you yet. You might want to play. All
the green flag action on the big screens at Quaker Steak and Lube today. Starting at 2 o'clock is green flag action. I guess, we're going to say this. I don't know what the weather forecast is yet for pending, but for weather pending if it happens at 2 o'clock. But all the picks for the Pick'ems contest due at 2 o'clock. What else do we need to talk about?
Oh, the car show's coming up.
Oh yeah, you got that car show. What is that? In 2 weeks now.
April 6th, noon to 4. Yep. We got people lining up. We got people coming. I think we're going to have a lot bigger turnout than what I expected this year. I bet you we have somewhere minimum between 75 to 100 vehicles.
Winner last year at Fontana was Kyle Busch, but that was only because of that little scuffle between Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin. Don't buy into the media hype. I don't think that's going to happen again. That was a product of a situation that began on Twitter 2 weeks earlier, but there's no love lost between those two.
No.
I'm pretty excited about the race today.
Are you taking your pick today? Or are you going to announce it?
I'm waiting because I always like to wait
too.
Because it's obviously we record on Wednesday nights and we don't know anything. Thank me, by the way. Go ahead and thank me because I made you wait, and it helped you to make a better pick last week.
Well, what's kind of funny is during one of the cautions, there was a restart, and guess who they announced on the pole in first place for a brief stint of time was Boyer.
Yeah.
And I was walking outside, and I grabbed a soda, and I was like, oh, no, all hell stops right now. I got to watch Boyer. Boyer's right up front, and everybody
got shuffled back. Today's a good. I like Auto Club Speedway in Fontana because it is a good 3-groove track. They can go there and set up their car for the bottom groove, middle groove, or top groove.
We could see the same racing at Bristol as we see. Or we could see the same racing at Auto Club as we saw at Bristol.
Yeah, it's easy track to pass at, so it's not going to be a single file thing. You're not going to have low passing statistics. It's going to be a very good race. Kyle Busch won it last year, so he's very strong, and he's probably going to be a little ticked off after Bristol last weekend with having a good car and then having issues late in the race and finishing outside the top 10. What else you got going? We got a few minutes left in the show. Oh, I want to say, I'm sorry, I don't mean to ask you a question and then cut you off, but happy birthday to a friend of mine and a good contributor to the show, Lee Ackerman, the big 7-0.
Is that what it was?
Lee turned 70
we
years
were
old.
wondering if it was 70 or 700. We couldn't remember.
It very well could have been 700.
I do
Father
know
time.
We went to the local Walmart and they didn't have enough candles to put on the cake.
They were sold out.
Yeah, so we couldn't figure out if it was 70 or 700.
Big thank you to Jack Dover for joining us in studio, and I apologize. We wanted to get in depth with Lauren, his girlfriend, and kind of get in the mindset of her, but once again, technical issues, couldn't get the microphones to work right, so we had to wait on that. We'll get him back in studio in a couple of months and talk to him and make sure she comes back in. Thank you to Dusty Reynolds of RaceNote.com. Check it out. Download the app. Get the experience. You can try it out for free. Just email them and they'll give you a free sample of it. And you can get to really utilizing your setups and figuring out how to make your race car work for you instead of against you. We'll be back next weekend to do it all again. This has been The Front Stretch. Have a good weekend, buddy.
You too.
This week's Young Gun on The Front Stretch hails from Billings, Montana. Connor Lorenz raced a quarter midget for a total of 7 years, claiming 9 track championships. Connor, just 16 years old, has already 100 wins to his credit, along with 5 track records. At one time, Connor held the track record at the QMA Western Grands. Connor began racing quarter midgets at the age of 9, where he won his first track championship along with the 2007 Winter Nationals in Primm, Nevada. Once Connor turned 14, he began racing with Soda Street Stocks at his home track, BMP Speedway, with his 2 uncles and dad. Despite being one of the youngest drivers, Connor still took second place in championship points during his rookie season at BMP. Keep your eye out for Connor Lorenz in the next few years, as he could be making his way to a dirt track near you. Connor Lorenz, this week's Young Gun on The Front Stretch.
For 50 years, Eagle Raceway has been pushing the limits of dirt track racing. Saturday nights, come see the Midwest Best Battle at the fastest third-mile track. Gates open at 5:30 for IMCA Modifieds, Sport Compacts, Hobby Stocks, Sport Mods, and Race Saver Sprint Cars. Eagle kicks their season off on April 19th with the Icebreaker Challenge, featuring the debut of the Race Saver Sprint Cars. Located just 10 minutes east of Lincoln on Highway 34 and online at eagleraceway.com.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.